Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 1 2 1 2. Hey there, hi there, ho there. This is Ralph Hayes Jr. RH Junior Reality Check Live, coming to you live over the internet through a series of tubes forming a boob tube known as YouTube, bringing you yet another broadcast of my own personal mark on the internet, Spleen Squeezins. And the music's not playing. This music's not playing. Is it there? Is it? Okay, as always, people, if the music's too loud, please tell me. Please tell me. I am incapable of telling. Because this whole setup is kludged. It's completely, just, yeah, you get the idea. Groove to the flickering lights and the strange music. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I took a full week. I just took a full week of doing nothing. I was feeling so crashed out. I was sick. I had no energy. I literally couldn't. I could sit up in front of it and I would conk out in like 5 minutes, falling asleep all the time. So last week I just had to take a sick week, just trying to rest up. I'm still tired. I'm tired all the time. That seems to be, they really didn't tell us this when we were young, that being an adult really just consists of being tired all the time. That's the thing of it, as the old saying goes, is it maturity or are we just too tired to care anymore? So low that I can barely see the sound meter music plays. So I don't know if it's too high or too Okay, goodness. I'm still tired. I'm still hurting. My chair is still incredibly but things actually are starting to look up. Among other things, first off, the trash is out of my house. The trash is out of my house. The trash is out of my house. I am so happy. My sister helped out. My sister they sent me a little cash. I used the cash to hire they even found a guy that does this trash haul off stuff. And he came out, I paid him. He came out, I paid him, and they carted it all off. They even swept up afterward. I'm impressed. They took a broom and swept the floor afterwards. Cleaned it all up. I'm looking for his. Now, if you live in the Marietta area, the number for these people, they haul all sorts of junk. They haul stuff off to the junkyard. They all, they haul crap. And the company is owned by Sam. It goes under the name Sammy's. Their number is 740-336-2398. It's a free advertisement, guys, because I am so happy with the job they did. He came in, he brought along a couple of guys to help out, and they just cleaned everything out. They got everything, stuff that I couldn't move, and they got the bags. They got the trash out. They got the loose trash out. They got the old junk, computer junk, the broken furniture, everything. They just whoosh, out the door. They even got rid of that stupid broken air conditioner that's been sitting there taking up space. It was marvelous. And they came back and they even swept up the floor, above and beyond. So, if you look at me, they ended up charging me about they got it all in one go to this great big fucking huge trailer full of trash, and they got it all loaded in one go, got it out there. It took about 3 hours, shipping it out, getting it down to the dumping yard. So they charge about $40 per hour for renting the truck, plus odd little incidentals like but they charged me about $200. They charged me $200, and they did a bang up job. So if you need somebody, if you live in the Marietta area and live in Ohio, and you need somebody to haul a bunch of junk away, these are the guys to go to. This is the guy to go to. You just call them. Just call and ask when you get the number. The number is listed under a company called Sammy's. Then call them. It's 740-336-2398, and ask them about the guys that haul stuff. And they will be there for you. They can and will schlep stuff out. It's great. Happy man. I have a floor again. No kidding. You can up in. I have a floor again. I have floor space again. I can get to my back door again. I can. I got enough room here in the living room now. I'm thinking save up a little and buy a bunk bed or bed frame. Put a bed in here in the living room so I can lie down. Maybe a futon or something. So I can lie down, rest without having to lug my heavy, tired butt and limp all the way from one end of the trailer to the other just to lie down for a few minutes. So, I'm very happy. Is there anybody out there? Anybody out there? If you can hear me, speak up. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Let me spend some time trying to get that. Check and see if people want it black and white or full color. And, this is progressing nicely. Waiting a little bit, to have an audience, because I need feedback. I need love and affection and intimacy. I need people to talk to. Talk at. Can you hear me out there? So lonely. Check to see if I got anything in the till. their search page, it now puts up these headlines by pretentious, snotty yuppies and hipsters. Hipster headlines. With pretentious ignoramuses rendering their opinions on everything from science to culture. Just reading the opening paragraphs makes me just kind of want to punch him in the nose. Obnoxious. I would just get rid of this. Is there any way to get rid of this? There's got that section there. Thank you. Improved my mood miraculously. Hello, YouTuber 1752. Welcome aboard. It just looks like you and me right now. Guess what? It's an audience of one. God help you. I'd like to say I'm feeling a little better. Physically, I'm still feeling pretty run down. But mentally, I'm jumping through hoops because the trash guys came and cleaned out all the trash and junk and old furniture and stuff, and now I have a floor again. Anyway. That have been following my writing. Man, I hate that music. Nothing I do seems to control volume. It's infuriating. It just keeps getting louder and louder. At least from where I'm sitting. And it's really distracting. But, anyway, like I was saying, for anybody who's been following the stories I've been writing, the fan fictions and such that I've been writing, I'm really starting to wonder about people out there, the fans. I'm not going to blame this on, being, I'm not going to say this is a fan thing. I think this is just a human thing. But in particular, the fans who have been following the Warcrafter out on Sufficient Velocity, the Sufficient Velocity forums, they just started going places that have got me wondering what the hell is wrong with you people. Now, for those who don't know, the story of Warcrafter, it's a crossover. It's set, the setting is the world of Worm by Wildbow. Worm is a serial fiction set in a superhero setting. And as I have said before, it is so grimdark it shits bats. It has a very bleak and bleak outlook on pretty much everything. It is a huge work, by the way. If you ever stumble across Worm and read it, there's like hundreds of chapters. It's huge. And one of the features in there is that there is this super secret organization called Cauldron. And Cauldron is basically, it boils down to this. It turns out that the first and greatest superhero in Worm is actually an alien from outer space. Nobody knows this, except Cauldron. And he is actually, he and his mate came to Earth. Basically, their objective was to use the world as a gigantic laboratory for experimenting with superpowers. And then after they had harvested all the information they could, they were going to blow up the world use the crispy remains to fuel it. Well, basically, they were going to use the Earth as part of their reproductive cycle, blast themselves off into space to find another world to parasite. And, well, anyway, nobody knows this except for this organization, Cauldron. And this organization, Cauldron, is trying to defeat this alien called Scion. Scion. And in the process, they're basically committing every crime against humanity you can possibly imagine. Kidnapping people, experimenting on them, vivisecting them, mutating them, dropping them, erasing people's minds, covertly blackmailing governments, just basically any inhuman crime you can imagine. They're committing it in the course of their fanatical objective, which is to destroy Scion before he destroys the world. The thing of it is their plans are dumber than a canned ham. Their plan basically consists of trying to make as many superheroes as they possibly can. Okay, you wanted me to do a quick rerun? Okay, I'm talking about the Warcraft, my online crossover fan fiction called The Warcrafter, and it's a crossover with an online fiction called Worm. And in the setting of Worm, it's a superhero setting, and it is grimdark. And it gets grimmer and bleaker and more catastrophic with every chapter. Now, summary is that humanity has superpowers. The way you obtain superpowers is, this summary is that you have to go through the absolute worst day of your life. We're talking post-traumatic stress disorder kind of causing things. And if you are of the right sort, look, I'm really botching up telling this story. It's a little complicated to sum up in just one paragraph. But basically, evil aliens come to Earth, randomly give people on Earth superpowers. Their purpose is to let people test these superpowers. They're using the world as a gigantic laboratory because these aliens have no creativity. And so they give these superpowers to random people. The people use them, get in super fights and stuff. And the aliens, after they die, the aliens take the powers back and analyze all the data. Making themselves smarter and stronger and so on and so forth. And then after they've gotten all the data they think they possibly can, they blow that world up and fly off to find another. This secret organization named Cauldron is trying to find a way to destroy these aliens before they destroy the world. It's just two gigantic space, fractal space whale type aliens. Just FYI. and one of them crash landed and died, and the other one is basically just going through the motions right now, and they figure they better kill him off before he gets his act together and decides to finish everything off. Anyway, Cauldron has been engaging in this super secret clandestine effort in the stupidest and most immoral way imaginable. Their plan basically consists of making more superheroes, more people with superpowers, in the hopes that when Skyon, that's the name of the alien posing as a superhero, when Skyon finally snaps and starts destroying the world, that they will have enough powerful superheroes to punch him in the face and make him stop. And to do this, their super secret organization has been killing people, blackmailing them, kidnapping people and experimenting on them to give them powers, releasing deformed capes. They call them Case 53s. Erasing their memory and releasing them randomly into the streets of various cities. Why? I don't know. It's never made clear why they're doing that. They've collaborated with mass murderers and serial killers. Basically, any type of moral violation you can think of, they've done it. Why? Because they have exactly one person who is planning everything behind the scenes in Cauldron. That one person is named Contessa. She has a superpower, a shard of one of the aliens, that's called Path to Victory. And all she has to do anything is to ask her superpower, how do I do this? And the superpower will figure it out and give her a list of instructions, a series of steps to take to accomplish a goal. She doesn't even have to understand. She just has to follow the steps, and her goal is accomplished. And she asked her power, "How do we defeat Skyon?" And they are basically following the path that her power laid out, doing whatever it tells them to do, which includes, releasing madmen and murderers into the streets, assassinating random people for no particular reason, obstructing various governments, bribing politicians, they've gone past idealistic extremist, just plain out into insanity. Anyway, I'm talking about this, and I point out, and I've got several people in the forums that are giving me guff about how my protagonist, why doesn't he get Cauldron to help? Because the protagonist is, the idea of the protagonist is that he has been granted powers by an alien by a cosmic entity, and his objective is to save the world of Worm from its demise, because Cauldron's plan is crap, basically put. And at 99.9 times out of 100, it fails. And even when it succeeds, nearly everybody on the planet is killed. And the world is reduced to the Stone Age. Sufficient Velocity is the forum that where I'm getting this guff. And the protagonist, he wants nothing to do with Cauldron. Because, okay, Cauldron is perfectly willing to work with serial killers, supervillains. They actually find they actually provide banking services, of all things, to various supervillains. They have a former member of the Slaughterhouse Nine, the world's worst mass murderers, as one of their staff. I point out these people are morally depraved, and everything they're doing is not only wrong, it fails. Because even in the original story, Cauldron's plan did not save the world. Cauldron's plan did not save the world. What saved the world was that the protagonist, who had nothing to do with Cauldron, who was in fact running athwart their plans, more often than not, unknowingly, stepped up, sacrificed her own sanity. Basically, she overclocked her power and basically burned out her brain, so that all of the heroes and villains and other capes on Earth could work together just long enough to defeat Skyam. And I pointed this out. to these people, and you wouldn't believe the sneering I'm getting from some people. Apparently, I'm too much of an idealist, and they're saying the protagonist is being dumb because why isn't he giving Cauldron a chance? Let's team up with the people who have spent the last 20 or 30 years objectively making things worse. Let's give them another chance, yeah. And I'm like, and I can't seem to get through these people. I'm sitting here shuddering, imagining what playing this last 5 minutes of conversation is going to sound like when I hear it. But I stutter all the time, and I'm having a very difficult time explaining this. That these are the sort of people who thought Mussolini was a great leader because the trains ran on time, conveniently ignoring the fact that the trains still didn't run on time under Mussolini, if they ran at all. Pointed out their plans were evil, and their plans were stupid. And everything they did objectively made the world that Worm was set in worse. They conspired to keep supervillains, even monsters like the Slaughterhouse Nine, out on the streets. They undermined the Protectorate, the superhero organization that was supposed to be defending the world from villainy. They were out there objectively ruining things because Contessa's path to victory said so. And I'm not the only one to point this out. Contessa's power came from the same source that everyone else's did. And the source of superpowers in the Worm universe, the shards, actively want strife and conflict, because the alien entities believe that conflict increased the amount of data they got from their observations. People get into conflict, they use their powers more. It's like these people that think that war is good for business. You know what I'm saying? I've got people talking here. Oh, the cauldron's not really evil. What? I'm saying, what is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you people? They can't grasp they can't grasp one of the most important concepts in morality, is that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Just because just because this organization, we're saving the world. Yes, there are environmentalists out there setting fire to businesses because they believe they're saving the world, from environmental catastrophe. There are people out there trying to establish communism in the United States because they want to help the poor. There are people out there noble intentions don't mean that you're actually doing noble things. But they can't see that. They can't understand that. They've bought the lie of, quote, the necessary evil. There is no evil that is necessary. Okay? There's never been a necessary evil. It's just that compromising, you have a goal. Compromising your morals to accomplish a goal has always been the easy route. It's always been the easy out. And people have dedicated their lives to convincing themselves the easy way out was the only way we could do it. We just didn't have any choice. Yes, you did. The idea of this organization trying to save the world from these evil aliens and doing it by murder, theft, fraud, torture, kidnapping. Oppression, cruelty, and collaboration with other evil forces. It's bullcrap. You try and corner the original author, Wildboy. This cauldron. Why didn't they just go to the governments of the world and lay it out on the line? These evil aliens are trying to destroy the world. We're conducting experiments. We believe we can give people superpowers so we can fight back against this guy. Here, let's work together on this. What do you say? No, they don't do that. What's really stupid is that their practice of keeping monstrous villains out of prison and letting them run free in the world because their powers might be useful in the fight against in the final battle. you think those powers are so useful? Great. They'll keep just as well in a prison cell. They had 1,000 ways in which they could have done everything that they were doing and done it without harming innocents. But they couldn't, the readers don't see that, and I'm just at a loss as to how to get through that layer of bulletproof, hardened earwax wrapping their brains. Oh, your hero is so sanctimonious and self-righteous. The enemies he faces are mass murderers. The organizations he's going up against are repeat offenders. They're war criminals at the very best. And the fact that he comes out and says, you guys are a-holes, and I'm not going to work with you. You're stupid. You're stupid if you think you can work with the devil, just long enough to get what you want. Deals with the devil only work out in the interest of the devil. And the price you pay for whatever noble goal you have is far worse than what you would have paid just slogging it out and doing it the hard way. Which reminds me of something I discovered fairly recently. I was reading this notice. It is one of those school settings. The teachers at basic, the teacher basically said, until the guilty party comes forward, we're not going to have recess. We're all going to sit here and one of the kids looked at her and said, "You're in violation of the Geneva Convention," which sounds hilarious. But then he looked at the guy writing it said he looked it up. According to the 1946 Geneva Conventions, it is against the law to punish people in groups. Group punishments are against the law by the Geneva Convention. And yes, as American citizens, we are co-signers of the Geneva Convention, so we are under it. It states expressly that it is against the Accords of the Geneva Convention to punish someone for a crime which they themselves did not personally commit. Which is why all this talk about reparations, to the Native Americans or to African Americans, reparations to the Native Americans for the loss of the land, or the African Americans for for slavery, it's bunk. Because it's in violation, reparations are a concept that are in violation of the Geneva Conventions. That's a little fact, a little tip, a little nugget of information you can use the next time you want to shut up a liberal, or just to make them just burst a blood vessel in their brain, and just shoot steam out their ears. Getting the rest of it. Yeah, I've got these stories of mine. They're also on fanfiction.net, but they're not as updated as the ones on Archive of Our Own or on Sufficient Velocity. Largely because the updating system with Archive of Our Own, with the updating system with fanfiction.net is a tremendous pain in the butt. Fanfiction.net, it's decades out of date. It's clumsy, it's difficult to use, it takes forever. When I first got, I've come to regret having a fanfiction.net account because it's such a pain in the butt to use. If you're wanting to read the stories, they're on archiveofourown.org or on sufficientvelocity.net. Read it on your phone. Oh, well, there you go. Oh, goodness. I may break down and actually do it. I don't know. Because everybody keeps asking me, but I hate that. I hate that interface. I swear I do. Interface on fanfiction.net, it's just such a clumsy mess. It takes forever to upload the darn things. Let's see here. Wrong window. Okay, let's work on this. All right. Let me get my stylus here. Now, I've really gotta bust a hump here. Beg your pardon. This is a commission for Kruger. I've got to go back and check and see if what he wanted was a full color or what. Simply terrible, it really is. Come on, computer game. Turn off that. There we go. I constantly get it driven home to me that I was raised in a different environment, that I was raised in a different world than most people out there today. I was raised, in a world where I was raised in a Christian home, first off. And that's just like an impassable gulf between that and the secular outlook of the world. But even in my childhood days, Christianity and the Christian values had a stronger influence on society than it does today. And one of the fundamental things is that morality. People still held on to the idea that right versus wrong wasn't something that you could swap out for convenience. The idea People were still appalled at the idea of, making a deal with the devil. That people still grasp the idea that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. People still grasp the idea that compromising your values to achieve a goal, no matter how noble the goal was to damn yourself. I hate that damn music. It's louder and louder and louder and louder and louder, and I have no idea why. Can you hear the music? Is the music too loud? Is the music too soft? Can you hear it even? Tell me, because I don't know. But anyway. More and more people just I'll make a deal with anyone so long as I get what I want. And at a favorite, like, it's for the children. The most, the favoriteest lie. It's for the children. And that statement was supposed to absolve them of all sin, no matter how many horrible things they did to achieve their goals. I don't care. I got mine. That's what it really amounts to. And they think that their feelings, so long as they feel good about what they did, they think that's more important than whether what they did was objectively right or wrong, or whether it even accomplished the goal they set out. They don't even care if their screwed up plan actually works, just so long as it makes them feel good that they tried. Doesn't work. They don't care if it's wrong. They don't even, it's bad enough they don't care that it's right or wrong. They don't care if it even works or not. There's a very simple thing. Consider this. Devil's advocate time. World War II. The end of World War II, we allied ourselves with Russia in order to finish off the Axis. We compromised ourselves in the most damnable way. Winston Churchill wanted to continue prosecuting the war until the Soviet Union was taken down too. But the other nations of the world, they wanted a quick, easy end. They didn't think, we can't keep going. More than likely, if we had kept prosecuting the war, if we had kept going on, the Soviet Union would have ended before 1950. You gotta understand, the Soviet Union was already a socialist pit. The only reason they had held out as long as they did against the Germans when the Germans turned on them was because they used scorched earth tactics. And by the time that Germany had been taken out, they were out of earth to scorch. Had we not allied with them, if we had just pressed on, the Soviet Union would have folded. And millions of people who died under the iron boot heel of the Soviet Union would still be alive today. The communist plague that still festers across half the world would have never taken root, would have never spread like it has. The communist empire would have been on the ash heap of history right next to the Nazi one. It would have been bitter, it would have been grueling, it would have been incredibly difficult, and it would have cost us tremendously. But we would have won it. In case everybody's forgotten, America was still fresh to the fight. And not only were we fresh to the fight, we had the nuke. By all rights, we should have been perfectly capable of going in and smashing the Soviet Union and bringing an end to a nightmare that instead we allowed to stretch on for another 40 to 50 years. The cost and human death and suffering because we wanted a quick end to the war. We are still paying for it. Look at the Gulf War. We went in. We toppled a tyrant. The people in Iraq were voting for the first time, voting freely for the first time in who knows how long, and for the first time in history in Afghanistan. If we had stayed the course, if we had stayed the course, if we had stayed in Iraq and finished rebuilding that nation into a free Western civilization, and we can do it. We have done it before. I point you to Japan. We rebuilt Japan and we didn't even have to try. We rebuilt Japan and we didn't have to clean up a 10 million golf hole course. We didn't have to flatten their cities from end to end to do it. Two bombs and that was the end of it. We could have finished actually prosecuting the war, but we didn't. We couldn't, if we had stayed in Iraq, but instead, President Jug Ears Obama, came riding in on his magic unicorn and said, "Peace for everybody," and pulled everybody out. And as soon as they were gone, he got what he wanted. Muslim fanatics sweeping in out of the desert tore that nation a new one. The first time we went into Iraq, the first Gulf War, when we went into Kuwait, we could have finished Saddam Hussein off. But we stopped at the border. Why? Because the coalition that was being led in got cold feet. don't want to upset the balance of power in the region. You know what happens when you knock down a burning building? You know, you're definitely upsetting the balance of things. You knock down, you know, it's just. But what will fill the gap? When you put out a burning building, you don't worry about what's going to fill the gap left behind. You put the fire out. Yeah, things are going to be, shall we say, unbalanced. The way they were balanced before was intolerable. People want to fix things, but at the same time, they don't want to, you know, upset the status quo. You can't fix things without changing the status quo. You can't change things without making things difficult for somebody. There is no easy. There's plenty of simple solutions, but simple and easy aren't even close to being the same thing. Ouch. Ow, 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 my feet, ow, my feet, ow, 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 my feet. Ow. Darn. Shifting around like that. Oh, dear. This is what aggravates me about these fans, these audience members. That you present them with a genuinely evil group or individual, and they will look at it and Their first goal is to sympathize with it and empathize with it, and then agree with it, and it just is so disheartening. You got these people that look at Harry Potter. You show them Severus Snape. And I'm sorry, but J.K. Rowling, her last books, she just, lost the plot. She lost she went off the rails. I don't know who put a bug in her ear. Oh, you need to give Severus Snape more sympathy, and give him a redemption arc. Yeah, show that he's actually a hero in disguise. Show that how tragically noble he is. She'd already laid 4, 5, or 6 books worth of background establishing the guy was an irredeemable creep. And yeah, I saw in the first book or so he that one scene where he tries to save Harry from falling off his broom. Breadcrumb. Give me a break. She never looked at the character she was actually writing. She never quite seemed to grasp that she'd made a monster and was trying to paint him in a sympathetic light. Basic concept here. You can sympathize with somebody. You can pity them. You can understand them, but you can still condemn them for what they do and what they are. The fact that they're a sympathetic character doesn't change the monstrosity of what they did. And yes, Snape was a monster. Take it from the top. Okay? Take it from the top. This is a man who went right out of school. The moment he graduated from Hogwarts, he ran off to join the Death Eaters. He ran off to join a bunch of Nazis. And yes, he participated in their fun little activities too. He was a bigot. He was the scene where his pensive memories are shown. He was a bigot even before he arrived at Hogwarts. He drops a tree branch on Petunia's head. They're all a bunch of kids at the time. He gets mad at her, and his accidental magic causes a tree branch to fall on her head, nearly brains her. Naturally, Lily is upset at this. He goes, who cares about her? She's just a muggle. He was perfectly fine with all the things that the Death Eaters were doing right from the start. He participated in their activities. If Voldemort had picked Neville, Snape would have still been a Death Eater. He would have never warned Dumbledore. And he would have, he would have gone on. He was perfectly fine with the bigotry and the racism and the torture and murder and terrorism and everything else that the Death Eaters were doing. And the only reason he balked at the very last was because it looked like it was going to cost him the married woman he was still obsessing over years after she friend-zoned him in school. He was perfectly fine with the fact that Voldemort was going to kill this woman's husband and child. And then because Dumbledore had him over a barrel, he spent the next couple of decades sadistically bullying and tormenting the children of his own victims. Do you realize what an absolute shit you'd have to be to look in the mirror and go, I'm responsible for Lily Potter's death. Her child is an orphan because of me. I think I'll make his life living hell because he has his father's looks. Oh, and I'll bully that Neville kid on the side just for yucks. He bullied 2 children he personally was responsible for making orphans. How much of a shit do you have to be? And everybody writes stories where if Harry had just done one little thing different, he might have been friends with Snape, but he got cocky and, they're always trying to shift the blame onto Harry. If Harry had just shaken Draco Malfoy's hand, they would have been friends. If Harry had just been polite to Snape right from the very start, then Snape might have sympathized with him. No. That's the kind of stuff wife beaters say, okay? Well, if she hadn't made me mad, I wouldn't have given her a black eye. If she had just fixed my dinner on time. Get out of my face. If he had just gotten to know the Malfoys instead of the Weasleys, he would have liked the Malfoys too. No. The Malfoys were a bunch of murdering bigots. Lucius Malfoy, I love where because Harry learns his proper manners as a a pureblood member of society, he's able to be cordial and friendly with Lucius Malfoy. Lucius Malfoy was perfectly willing to put a cursed diary in the hands of an 11-year-old girl in the hopes that it would kill her and her friends just to make Dumbledore look bad. He was willing to murder a little girl. And this was before his master had returned. What are you people smoking? Like Thanos in the Marvel movies, yeah. Thanos, he wipes out half the life in the universe. Not just half the humans, half the people, half of all living things. Thereby dooming everything to extinction, but let's gloss that over. But he was such a tragic figure, and he had such a noble cause. He was trying to actually save the world. No, just shut up! This was pointed out by another writer. Do you know what a colony collapse is? It's a thing particular to beehives. If the population of bees in a beehive drops far enough, not even by half, by 10% or 20%, something like that, the entire colony will collapse and die. The whole thing. Because there aren't enough bees left in the hive to do all the work. It's got environmentalists and ecologists in a panic. Because when a beehive goes, it isn't gradual. It's like, boom, gone. Thanos just killed, basically Thanos, the moment he snapped his fingers, killed every beehive on Earth. Bees are responsible for pollinating approximately 80% of the edible crops on the planet. Without bees, those plants die. So basically within 1 year, the world will be seized with a massive food shortage, famine everywhere, wars over what remained. Congratulations, there goes the rest of the planet, and that's just with the bees. You can't slice an ecosystem in half and expect it to keep functioning. Any more than you can take a snake, chop it in half, and let's see if it keeps going. He would have doomed the world. He would have doomed every inhabited world. And that's not even taking into account things like, imagine a starship, with a nice big giant antimatter reactor that drives it through space, and suddenly there's half as many people as you need to keep the thing running, or keeping it from crashing, or keeping the nuclear reactor from exploding. But he had such a noble cause. So instead of doubling the number of inhabitable planets, or just doubling the amount of resources, or even, shrinking everybody to half size so they didn't use as much resources. Anything, infinite power in his hands, at his fingertips, literally. And his first go-to solution for the problems of the universe is kill half of everything. And there are people out there because he was so sad, and because he had such a noble intentions, that they're out there arguing that he was kind of right. And I'm like, what the hell? Did you slam your head in a toilet bowl lid or something? Okay, I gotta check and see if this commission was supposed to be color or not. Let's see. Flying hot cross buns from space. Let's see here. Starting to lose my voice, all this talking. Oh, good grief. Sports Illustrated. First swimsuit model to wear hijab and burkini in Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue. Just why? Commissions, Kramer, Kruger. Excuse me. Bug on my nose. There's so many pictures that I owe this guy. You know what I see when I do that? When I look at this and I go, I would really. I'm missing a picture. Let's see, Lord Hylias. Come on, computer. I already did that one. Here we go. That's not Reciteer. Three character, yep, full color, okay. Seriously looking into just thick padded floors. That'll give it an easy way to have a reference right there. $10,000 little details. I should have thought of this ages ago. Would have saved me a lot of switching back and forth.
It's your birthday. Happy birthday. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. It's a great day. That's what we say.
Yeah, that's closer to it.
Happy birthday to you.
People don't believe in good and evil anymore. They quit believing in God. They quit believing in Jesus. And what a surprise, they quit believing in good and evil too. They don't believe that making choices between good and evil really matters, is what I mean. They don't believe that choosing evil over good will cost you. They think that, oh well, my goals are good, my purpose is good. You know, I have a noble intention, and therefore the way I get there doesn't really matter. You know, the ends justify the means. They don't believe that you'll have to pay for the means, that the means will result in you never reaching your end. I want to end poverty, so I'm going to commit, I'm going to go out and start robbing people, giving the money away. First of all, that won't stop poverty. Second of all, it'll make it worse. This was, excuse me a minute. This was a mental exercise we conducted in my economics class when I was in high school. What if everybody could run around and just steal whatever they wanted? Would everybody get rich? Would some people get rich? In fact, what would happen is that everybody would get poorer. See, because instead of creating new wealth, making new goods, offering new services, making new products, new inventions, new ideas, everybody in the world would be too busy trying to protect what little they had from being stolen. Powerful, the strong and the powerful would have a lot of stuff, but they wouldn't be doing better overall, because they would expend so much of their wealth trying to protect themselves from being robbed. That's the real tragedy of the everybody gets mad about rich people using all these tax shelters and everything. oh, they're trying to get out. What it is that they are trying to keep from being robbed. They're trying to keep the government from stealing more of their money. And so instead of investing that money or being out, instead of investing their time and money in making new products or making new services or expanding their business, hiring new people, and building new factories, they're all taken up in trying to tuck it away in in bundles and stuff it in their under their mattress to hide it from the bandits that come around and rob them blind every year. Think about it. Instead of taking that money and making it grow, which is better for everyone, they've got to expend all their effort into hiding it in Swiss bank accounts and that sort of nonsense. Opportunity lost forever because government got greedy. I me mine, I me mine, I me mine. That's much better. That's a big improvement right there. can't accomplish anything good by compromising with evil. I feel like a man doomed to keep repeating the obvious till the day I die, you know? Well, excuse me. Let's see, save, and we go over here, and the music stopped again. No, this is I'm not so much experienced. This is a commission for Kruger. I know. I'll step back and say this. Talking about World War II, it's easy to say that now, sitting in your armchair 1,000 miles away from where any battle could actually take place. But that doesn't make it any less true. If we had prosecuted the war to its fullest, if we hadn't fallen for the fact that, the Soviet Union switched sides in the middle of the war, a big warning sign right there. They came to us asking us to be our allies. We should have told them to go pound sand. If they wanted to play with the Nazis, they could play out the end of the game that way. To be fair, they didn't switch sides. The Nazis turned on them, which again is still not a surprise. We should have back on let them chew on each other for a couple of years and then gone in and mopped up the mess. Like that little chicken hawk says, he said, he doesn't care who wins, he'll fricassee the loser. Legs are kicking up a storm. Seriously. what type he said, but it basically means I have trouble distinguishing certain areas of the color. Not completely, but I have a very difficult time distinguishing browns, greens, and grays. This is part of the reason that I tend to prefer really bright, vivid colors in things. Because pastels, I have trouble distinguishing. And the muted colors. Pale or muted colors especially give me a lot of trouble. Still have to put odds and ends and things on the shelves. Make wooden planks for the floors, that kind of thing. Sorry I've been so quiet for the past few minutes. Yes, this is a commission. Full color. It took me forever to decide. It's just I don't know why it took me forever to rock to for lack of a better term. Let me poke this How is the music volume? How is the music volume? Can you hear it at all? My aching hurt constantly, and I hate it. I just can't begin to describe. This is this. I'm starting to wonder if the increasing old age of the boomer generation is the reason that they're pushing harder and harder for legalization of drugs. just to deal with the aches and pains of you have to forgive me. This is just poking along on my last nerve here. Nothing makes me feel better. Resting, trying to sleep, doesn't leave me feel rested. Doing anything just makes me feel worn out and tired. Excuse me. Book just flew in my mouth. Ugh. Eat those little no-see-ums. Fly everywhere. Heck of a way to get extra protein. Blech. Oh my. Okay. Is there any topics, anything you all like to talk about? Anything you got questions about? Anything you want to say? Anything you want to ask? Feed's getting choppy. This headline's got me. It's protester glues her tatas to the street for climate change. I can't even. They joke about white girls always say, I just can't even. Neither can I at this moment. She glued her boobs to the street to protest climate change. De Blasio he's inked out a New York City Green New Deal to fight climate change. It includes banning hot dogs. I'm amazed the New Yorkers haven't killed him yet. Can you imagine trying to ban a hot dog in New York City? Oh my word. What can you say to that? What could you possibly say to that? Politicians, even the Nazis did not ban. They didn't have food, so they couldn't afford to ban anything. The Nazi Party did not go so far as to ban certain types of food. Just what the heck? People who are so lacking in control in their own lives that they have to control everybody else's. I'm just no idea where to go with that. I have no idea who Paul Joseph Watson is. They want to rebuild the Notre Dame with the Notre Dame spire with steel and glass. Hey, no skin off my nose either way. I suspect there may be there might be actual architectural reasons for that. It might be that the old design had problems. I don't know. I'm old enough to remember when they had to rebuild the Statue of Liberty. Yeah, it turned out the Statue of Liberty, they had to do I remember they had to do a massive repair and upgrade and renovation. Turned out that they assembled it wrong. The arm was several feet off center. From where it was supposed to be. It was extended 10, 20 feet further out from the shoulder than where it was supposed to be. The hand was reaching out too far. And when they were shipping it over here from France, the copper plates that made up the outside of her, they got deformed. They were stacked up and they got deformed by their weight. And so when they reassembled it, the workers in many places had to drill extra holes in the statue to bolt it together, because the holes weren't aligned with each other where the bolts were supposed to go through. So they had to drill new ones, and that resulted in that left with a lot of holes that let a lot of water in, let a lot of the weather in, which contributed to the degradation of the statue. And so they had to do some serious work there. Patch it all up, and prior to that point, prior to the time they did that, I always, when I was growing up, I thought the Statue of Liberty was made out of stone. When I was a kid, I did not know it was made out of copper. That blue-gray color, I thought, yeah, that looks like rock to me, I can't help wondering what it would have looked like if they had actually gone ahead and polished it up, gotten rid of that oxide that gives it that color. Probably would have been an air traffic hazard, reflecting all the sunlight like that. It's been a kind of quiet show. I haven't got much to say. I haven't got much to talk about. And, got some good news. Is that for those of you who missed the first part of the show, they came out here and they hauled the trash away. My trailer was full of trash, bags and bags and boxes, and pieces of old furniture and old computer stuff, and well, you name it. It was piled up in here. It was humiliating. My physical condition just basically made it impossible for me to clean it up. I couldn't find anybody who would do the job. No matter how I looked, no matter how I begged, no matter what I offered. Finally, asked my sister if she and her husband could come up and help, and they didn't come up. They sent some cash, and they sent the name of a guy who would do a haul away, and the guy came in with a couple of friends and cleaned the place out, cleaned it up. He even swept the floor afterward. I'm like, excellent guy. I gave his number at the beginning of the show. If you live in the Marietta area and you got a bunch of junk you need hauled away, He's the go-to guy. I recommend. He only charged me about $200. $200 for the whole job. So it depends on. He charges hourly. It's hourly fees here. And, I can't find. Here we go. His company. The truck's a guy. There's Sammy's. But when you call, just ask for the guy that hauls stuff. And his number is 740-336-2398. So if you live in the Marietta area up in Ohio, or even in Parkersburg, kind of just that general area, and you need and you got a bunch of stuff to haul away. He hauls away things like cars too. So you call him up, he'll do you right. All right. I can hear parts of my body creaking as I try and turn around in my seat. Oh, that ain't right. A minute here after I leave, I'm gonna go and, haul myself out of this chair and go fix myself something to eat in the kitchen. I haven't actually had breakfast yet, and I've been up all day. All I've eaten is like a bunch of crackers and some raisins. So no wonder I'm feeling peaked. They're all right. It's been about 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours. I think that's running it late, and I've been shooting my mouth off, and I'm out of things to shoot my mouth off about. So I think I'm going to call it a night. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for being patient. I'm going to try and get back in the saddle. This is the objective for the week. Get the comic strips up. Get new comics. One of each if I can manage it. Just get some new art up. Just get the ball rolling. Get everything rolling. Because if I don't draw and I don't write, you don't read, and you don't donate, and I don't eat. So that's how it works. So if you'd like to support me, on my page, www.rhjunior.com, there is a PayPal button on the right-hand side. Just if you just want to throw a couple of bucks in the hat. For Patreon, I got www.patreon.com/rhjunior. You get exclusive desktops and a little bit of other art. You can make a monthly pledge to prevent critical artist creator failure. Stand outside the fence, throw peanuts at me. But thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and call it a night. You all be sure and tune in tomorrow. I'll try and do a broadcast tomorrow. I don't know. I'm talking in circles now, so let's call it a night. You all take care of yourselves and have a good night, all right? Bye-bye.